Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with a match reaction to another dismal display by Newcastle United. What a great way to end a rubbish week. They're buggering off to Dubai. Sadly, we won't be, I'm pretty sure, unless you are. Let us know in the comments if you are. But another Groundhog Day performance by Newcastle. We're going to get stuck right into this in a minute. But it really was nightmare on Ashton New Road tonight from Newcastle United, and certainly Eddie Howe. More on him in a second. Before we get stuck in, just a gentle reminder, anybody who's watching this for the first time, this will be a bit of a miserable one, I'm sure. I'm full of cold and I've had a bit of a naff week, so apologies. I'm normally a bit more upbeat than this, but blame them lot as well for showing that today. But smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're over 6,800 subs, loads of new subscribers in the last week or so. Thank you so much for coming on board, especially after my video about a certain journalist who likes to jump on his white steed of nobility and call you entitled for having a problem with shite like that. Well, do you know what, Luke? Fuck you and shove your red wine up your arse, mate, because I'm not happy about that tonight, and I'm going to get stuck right into that in a minute. But if you are new, hello, I do like to swear now and again, especially when I don't feel very well and I'm very annoyed by a game like that. So smash subscribe, like the video, all free content. If you want to be a member, there is an option down there too for you. Smash whichever one suits you best. And we are live tonight, loads of you in the chat already. We're going to get stuck right into some of your comments. There's loads of you flying in, so let's get into it. So how do we line up tonight? If you hadn't seen the game, if you decided not to bother, or you were working, or you just had better ideas and better plans and watching Manchester City dry hump us to death at the Etihad in the piss and rain, probably a good choice. But this is how we lined up if you haven't seen it already. So surprisingly enough, well, not surprisingly enough, Eddie Howe really didn't change anything, did he? Let's be honest with you. Apart from obviously Gordon being fit to play, which was great. Jamal Lascelles came in. He went 5 at the back in the most Mike Ashley style manager lineup I think I've seen ever since the pre-takeover. You were looking at it just thinking, really, 5 at the back against this slot, trying to hit them on the break. Okay, let's see how well this goes then. And it just didn't go very well at all, to be brutally honest with you. I mean, there's no point in going play by play. It took 12 minutes, I think it was, of Manchester City to get their goal. We had a couple of little moments where I think Murphy got down the right-hand side, put a couple of balls in for Isak, who looks massively short of match sharpness. He's losing that zip, which is just, we've only got one striker. That's how bad things are prepared for this game in terms of you can go back this summer and everything else. One fit fucking striker in March. Ridiculous, obscene. No youth striker on the bench or nothing like that. And even if he was, he wouldn't fucking play him anyway, would he? But just mental. Isak's doing the best that he can with the service that he's got, but it's just not good enough, really. So we had a couple of little moments where we huffed and puffed, but then obviously we break down the left-hand side. Now, that is surprisingly enough the target at the left-hand side, where our 6'9" left back who has no pace resides. Funny that, isn't it? But they obviously went and attacked him. And Mark was talking to me in the comments throughout the game, as we often do. And he said, Willock's got to get over there and cover him. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong, to be fair. Willock does have to give him some protection. But do you know what it is? I'm absolutely sick of this necessity to cover for Dan Burns' lack of pace. Stop playing him left back if he can't fucking run, then Eddie Howe. Don't sacrifice another 2 players who have to protect him when anybody with pace comes up against him. If he's that much of a liability, don't fucking play him. You had 2 left backs on the bench, 2 left backs who were better than Dan Burn at moving their legs and catching players that can run, and you didn't play either fucking one of them. So you can't go and blame Joe Willock all the time for stuff like that. Joe Willock's just coming back from injury himself. I'm sick to death of this. Gordon got the blame against Chelsea, and now Willock's got the blame against City today because Dan Burn can't run. Nah, fuck it, I'm done with it, right? More on Dan Burn in a minute. So Dan Burn sticks his lazy, big, massive leg out, flicks off and goes in the back of the net, and we're 1-0 down. And you think, here we go, that's it, done. We're pretty much knackered, we're screwed. And that was, shortly after that, I think that the second comes again, hits off Botman this time, goes in the back of the net. Dubravka's losing his marbles, and you got to say fair enough to Dubravka, because I'd lose my marbles too as well. You're looking at the team and there's just nothing there. Bruno's got a couple of nice little touches on the ball. To be fair to Sean Longstaff, who's took a lot of shit recently, he looked a bit more mobile tonight, but he still wasn't particularly good, let's be honest with you. But at least he looked like he can move around. But again, the lad is injured. You're putting shots in his ankle. You're injecting the kid's ankle so he can actually run 3 yards. I mean, it's just fucking madness when you've got Louis Miley and Elliot Anderson on the bench. Nobody expected us to win this game. Nobody expected us to win this game tonight, right? So why didn't you freshen things up, Eddie Howe? More on him in a minute, because I'm getting really, really close to jumping into that camp that nobody likes you to say, because I'm getting really sick and tired of this Groundhog Day lazy shit, no plan B management that we're seeing week in, week out. Yes, they're the best, no doubt about it. But Jesus H. Christ, we reeked of a mediocre mid-table Premier League side tonight in every possible way. If somebody woke up from a coma and didn't know Newcastle had been bought by the Saudi Arabians, they'd think Mike Ashley was sitting in the VIP suite in the Etihad with pasty all down his white shirt. That's how crap we were. So we're 2-0 down. We're going at half-time 2-0 again, and you're just thinking, what the hell is going to happen? Before I get into exactly what happened, surprisingly, not a lot. We'll get into some of your comments coming in here, guys. So we've got Sean there saying, we expected to lose, and we did. Nothing else, really. He set us up to lose, just to lose by the smallest amount possible, which, again, is a Mike Ashley manager template. It's a prerequisite. It was a prerequisite on the CV, written on the back of a fucking Regal packet by the owner. I thought we'd moved on from that. Georgia say completely inevitable, but it's the capitulation that I can't stomach, just like the one earlier in the year. You know what's annoying me about this game? I think I said it as well, George, in the preview, is that I didn't expect to win. I just wanted a performance. I think we all wanted a performance, and that was not a performance. It was a nothing performance again. Too much respect, too much fear showed to Manchester City. The Newcastle of last season would have said, you know what, we're going to put our game on you lot, and you come and do it. There's no shithousery. There's no dark arts. I know we're missing Joe Linton and Nick Pope, who are masters in both, but there's just nothing there. If you're going to go to the Etihad and you're going to sit 5 at the back, right? Kick them, pull them, do something, waste time, roll about, hold your face, do all the dirty little tricks. There was none of that tonight. There was just a complete apathy of play. And it was just an inevitability of when Manchester City were going to get that goal. Yes, you can say the 2 goals are unlucky, but it was just inevitable. It really was. It was almost like, the Simpsons episode when he fights all the fighters and he just gets hit all the time, and then they get tired and he does that and knocks them out until he comes against a real boxer and gets battered. That's pretty much what Newcastle United were tonight. The Homer Simpson of away teams, just absolutely terrible. Comment from me in this in plastic fans finally singing. This was obviously the City fans. Yeah, I've seen a couple of things about the City fans, and I do agree with you, Ian. But you know what it is? This whole, oh yeah, we were the loudest, we won the singing, right? That's great. The Newcastle away fans are so passionate, right? But that doesn't win you any games. Do you know what I mean? It's great that the support's there, and I really admire all them travelling fans. I'm not going to sit here and dig them out, but it still doesn't change the fact that we were shit. Do you know what I mean? That's basically it. As Ian was saying, nobody laid down a marker early on. A tackle roughed them up, exactly same as I was saying there about the shithousery. Graham is saying they're such a good side, but I felt things went for them too. Tight ref decisions, 2 deflections, home draw. It is what it is. We'll get there. Well, we may get there, Graham, but I'm not sure we'll get there with Eddie Howe, mate. More on that in a second. Graham Towlett is saying, can Longstaff be subbed off for the next game, please? Well, again, Louis Miley, come on. Second half, I might as well get into that. The second half came on. Eddie Howe did nothing, made no changes at all. Waited till 61 minutes, where City nearly got a third goal 2 or 3 times. I think they got in. Haaland got in a few times. We kept them relatively quiet, but I think it was more the case of just Haaland's chances just weren't really going from tonight, rather than people doing really well against him. Yes, Botman got a couple of decent blocks in, and Lascelles and Cher get booked a couple of times. I mean, the Cher booking, by the way, was a joke. Fair challenge in my eyes. No idea what the fucking referee was smoking that one. The ref was poor, right? But do you know what it is? City probably let us off the hook. I think City could have done us about 4 or 5 tonight if they'd maybe been a little bit more ruthless and had their foot on the gas. They did step off a little bit and allowed us to get the ball, but we just didn't do nothing with it. There's just no quality there. So Eddie Howe makes about 4 subs, I think. Who comes on? Miggy comes on, Miley comes on, Lewis Hall comes on, Anderson comes on as well. And almost to the minute he makes those subs, there's more positivity there. Dan Burn, dreadful. Dan Burn goes off, absolutely shocking, right? Dan Burn's a great bloke, and he's from Blythe, and he does his fucking dance and all that, right? But he's not a left back. He's not a Premier League left back. He sure as shit is not a Premier League left back who can play against Jeremy Doku or Bernardo Silva. Do not play that big bastard in these games ever again, Eddie Howe, or you deserve to get the sack. He is fucking toilet in a game like this. He's got no mobility. He's not good with the ball. There was 2 or 3 occasions Dan Burns' shit performance stood out for me tonight. One of them, and he's done this before. I think he did this. What was the game? Was it the Luton game or something? He goes in these little mazy wanders into the box and he fucking runs in the way of an attacking player because he's such a big twat that they can't get out of his way. He did that tonight. I think it was either Isaac or Gordon that he ran in front of, and then I think that was the second one where we're in the box and there's a bit of play happening and his touch is so bad. His touch is like a piss pony on Blackpool Beach and it just fucking dribbles out of play and you just think, Jesus Christ. Lewis Hall comes on, the invisible man, and his touch straight away, he's up there. He dinks it between 2 feet, a nice little 1-2 play. And you're thinking, there's a kid that can play football, not this dozy big twat, just because Eddie Howe likes him and he's from Blythe. It has to stop. It has to stop. Listen, if Botman's knackered, which he clearly is, sub Botman and play Burn left side centre half. I've got no problem with that. He's big, he's strong, he hoists himself in front of tackles, he's a leader and all that. He shouts at everybody. I like Burn in there, right? But don't play him left back when he's got no pace and he offers fuck all going forward as well. You've got 2 players on the bench, certainly in Lewis Hall, who's fit and raring to go and look really good when he come on tonight. But you just know for a fact that Eddie Howe is not going to play him against West Ham. He's going to start Dan Burn again. Tino Livramento had a knock, so he didn't get a game either. Will Trippier be back for West Ham? We don't know. We'll check near the time. Matty Target's trying to get himself back to fitness, but he's not going to play Target or Hall. He's going to play Burn as always because he thinks for some fucking reason this team can't survive without Dan Burn. It's bullshit. Watch that lad's performance tonight, Eddie Howe, on your little monitors and your little screens and see how well that kid did at left back tonight against the best team in the league, arguably in Europe. And you should say he should get a sniff at left back. At least give the lad a chance to do something rather than just let him sit in his arse all season. So another one from, always get your name wrong, so I'm just going to call you Hyper. I'm glad we're out of the cup so we can now focus on winning the league. Very good. Very, very good. Yeah, an optimist of the year, says George, for you on that one. No doubt about it. Ross is saying the standards with the ball are just so bad. Yeah, totally agree. The through ball was on the whole match. The counter was on the whole match. The transitions, they were dreadful as well. Do you know what it is as well? Isaac's touch tonight was so bad. I thought he was wearing Shola Amiobi's boots or something like that. It was so bad. Isaac's touch is normally superb. He brings it down, left foot, right foot, and gets him behind, and he just looks so off it tonight. But I mean, he is trying to skin one of the best defenses in the league. But I don't know whether he was just trying a bit too hard. But some of his touches, I think when the second half is there, and I think Louis Miley or Anderson, one of them slips a ball through to him, and they look really hungry as well. Miley looked good in the ball. He picked Foden's pocket. Foden was sensational tonight. That little turn in the first half, I think it was. Boy, so there's a second half. My God, that little turn where he nearly gets in. Unbelievable. That kid is brilliant. I can't wait to see him in the Euros. What a player. But, Louis Miley picked his pocket, and he went up against him and Kovacic, and, he just looked more self-assured than Sean did. He's such a talented player. Just put him in the midfield, Eddie, for fuck's sake. Play the lad. He's got the quality. Hall's got the energy and the touch and the attacking prowess over Dan Burn. His defensive capabilities, he can work on that. A young fullback who's 18 needs cover from his midfield, but he offers so much more than Dan Burn. And Louis Miley right now offers way more midfield than Sean, who's knackered and getting injections just so he can move. You've got to do something about this, Eddie Howe, because you really are just winding me up. It really is. Insanity is saying expect a loss today, but fuming about the team selections, getting beyond a joke by Eddie Howe now. Slowly getting more towards wanting them out. I'm getting that way myself, Insanity, to be honest with you. I don't want to say Eddie Howe out, right? And me and Mark have both said this numerous times. I don't really want to say it out loud, but tonight was the night. And it sounds mental, and you'll get people in the comments going, oh, but yeah, Manchester City needs letting Eddie Howe out, right? But hear what I'm saying to you. We're not a crazy hyperbolic channel, right? We talk as much sense as we can. We don't jump to extremes, right? Listen, this has been shit for months, right? He looks like he's completely out of ideas. He's playing the wrong selections, the wrong formations. He's playing players who can't get form. He's playing players through injury. They're burning out. We're losing players. The players look like they're looking at him for some kind of guidance, and he's not offering anything. He looks like he's lost on the sideline, and there's no plan B, C, D, or E. But all of these journalists are afraid to ask him difficult questions. I think bar Craig Hope and I think Chris Wafford, the Athletic, about the only two I've heard ask him a difficult question. The rest of them are just giving him free pass after free pass after free pass. I mean, I can't remember. I think it was Simon Bird as well. Give Simon Bird a shout out. He put it to him about some of the comments on Twitter, which I think was from out at the time. I know who watches us sometimes. So even you, may, if you're watching. And he said that we were shit. And Eddie Howe, to be fair to him, answered it, fronted up and said, it's up to us to put it right on the pitch. He didn't do that tonight, Eddie. He didn't do that tonight. The lads didn't do that tonight. I haven't seen his post-match reaction. But after the Chelsea game, when the first thing he said was positives, I thought, what game were you watching, me? I mean, I was in Manchester in a boozer watching it. I had about 7 pints, and I could see we were shit. So I don't know what he was watching. And that's the bit of frustration in most. I'm looking at this team. I'm looking at this manager, and I'm thinking, right, this ain't working. He's not working. He's burnt out. He's burnt out. He's burnt out. Why don't you change him? What are you doing? And he does nothing. He picks the same fucking bodies week in, week out. And I don't get it. I don't understand it. I've seen Newcastle managers chased out of town for less than this in years gone by. Eddie Howe came in when we were rock bottom, right? And the bar was so low because he did so well with it. Everyone's giving him a free pass, right? And you could say he's earned that credit, and I'm not going to dispute that, right? Because he has earned a lot of credit. And I'm not saying bin him now, but me and Mark are going to cover this on Monday. We're going to look at the remaining fixtures and try to predict where Newcastle United finish. If Newcastle United finish 10th, between 10th and 12th, which is a real possibility at the end of the season, and there's managers available, I'm not saying I want these managers, but there's managers available like Jose Mourinho or Nagelsmann, and Newcastle think they can get him, who's got more pull in the transfer market? Jose Mourinho, Julian Nagelsmann, or Eddie Howe? There's a question for you to ask yourself. And I just wonder what the club will do about that. A couple of more comments before we move on to the next one, guys. Ross is saying, Man City are brilliant. We were so passive. Yeah, Miggy, could you put could have put Anderson through? I did see that. My God, it was terrible. The 5-yard pass, unbelievable. And then he wanted to offer him a new contract. That's another thing about Eddie Howe. We talk about these squad players who aren't good enough and in peak last season, we probably should have cashed in and binned them. It was Eddie who wanted to keep them. Eddie wanted Miggy to sign a new contract. Eddie's wanting new contracts for Byrne and Sean Longstaff and Wilson and all these other players. So you've got to give him a bit of responsibility there as well and say, well, you wanted this, Eddie. So these guys are letting you down, then what are you going to do about it, So Rip Monkey's tunes in. I don't mind losing to City, but at least try and put some effort in and show some fight. The FA Cup, anything can happen. Yeah, absolutely. Tiger Studios were shit, simple as change how it's done. All the players were lost. Bruno's gone in the summer. I think Bruno is gone in the summer, Tiger. I really do. Jim says we've lost Bruno. He knows we're miles off. I think Isak will be looking the same as well, to be honest with you, Jim. I said I thought Bruno was one of the only players fighting for it. He was, because he was one of the only players who could actually stand in the company of the other players on the pitch. He put in a brilliant challenge. That turn from Foden was so good. And he chased him right back, Bruno. I think he must have ran about 20 yards past all of his slack-jawed teammates who just went, oh, that was a nice bit of play. And he caught him up and he forced him wide, and he stopped that from being one of the goals of the season. And that's massive credit to Bruno Guimaraes, because he's light years ahead of all these players. Absolutely light years. Andrew's saying he watched 35 minutes and turned back to watching the Avengers before halftime. Brilliant. At least you would have seen some superhero action, mate. Ironic that the show is from when we won the Fairs Cup. My God, I know it's scary. It just shows you how bad we were, wasn't it? William said we went through the motions. He's not even mad. He's just deflated. I'm just bored of it, William. I'm sick of it. Teresa says in time again, De Zerbi. Not a bad show. I wouldn't mind De Zerbi, I must admit. I think he's a very good manager. He'd be looking for a step up. Again, if we're going to start to have a bit more kind of wiggle room in the transfer market, then why not? Let's see if we can bring in a manager. Tanguy Vivid said, it wouldn't surprise me that Bruno ends up at Man City, the way things are going. Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. Michael is saying Nagelsmann all day long. Sorry, Eddie, you've lost me. I think he's lost a lot of people, Michael. I really do. I'm not fully lost, but I'm getting really, really bored of this and really, really sick of this. And I'm not giving him a free pass. I'm not sitting here and going, oh, Eddie, we trust. And, I've seen some wet wipes on Twitter when he was sticking up for Sean Longstaff, kissing his arsehole and all that stuff. And, well done, Eddie, all these supporters, I don't know what they're talking about. Just to try and get a like, or I don't know, or, an interview with him that you're never going to fucking get in a million years, right? But there's nothing wrong with fans having an opinion about the manager or the players or the owners for that matter, right? Everybody's entitled to an opinion. I've said this before, and I will say it again and again and again. You're entitled to your opinion. If you're happy and you trust Eddie, fine. If you don't trust Eddie, fine. You want him out, fine. Or like me, you're starting to lose some confidence. Then you've got to give everybody that chance to say that piece. Don't just start slagging people off for having an opinion one way or the other. Ian is saying it's glad he is on tonight. I don't know, mate. Go watch on the BBC iPlayer. You might see more tits on that you did in the fucking pitch tonight. Maybe not. Doom the Narc saying we need a manager that doesn't need the players who kill themselves running about. This is a question you've got to ask as well. The way that he runs these players every game, the way that he won't change things, the way that he's not using the squad. You look at that bench tonight, right? And you had Louis Miley, you had Elliot Anderson, you had Lewis Hall, who were all under 23, loads of energy. I know that Anderson's just coming back from injury, right? But he looked so much better when he come on. Eddie Howe had a chance to refresh that team, freshen it up tonight, rest Dan Burn, rest Sean Longstaff, take them out of the spotlight as well, take them away to this warm weather training camp, let them recuperate, let them get themselves right, let them try and come back and basically try to get back to whatever form that they showed earlier on in the season. These two were in the team that beat Paris Saint-Germain 4-1, so you've got to give it to them. They are capable players and they do give us something, but for months now, both of those players, as sound lads as they are, and I love the fact they're local boys, they've not offered enough to the team to warrant a start, but Eddie Howe keeps sticking by them. And for me, it's not washing with me anymore. It really isn't. A manager has to make decisions and has to drop players. I mean, you look at Rafa Benitez. Rafa Benitez was harsh as fuck. Even when he was a Chelsea manager, he dropped fucking John Terry for fuck's sake. It might cost him his job inevitably, but you have to make tough decisions. You really, really do. George is saying, I am still uncertain why Howe is doing what he's doing. I'm teetering right now. Yeah, that's where I am, George. I'm very much on the edge of that cliff looking over. Sensible Monica saying, how about Chris, ask you, is Eddie out, yes or no? George replies, let's do it, guys. Sensible's called it. Eddie Howe out, yes or no? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be very, very interested to see that. Me and Mark might pick it up a little bit more in the Monday night show. What's that? Pilkey spot. We went at our best levels, etc. Is that what he said tonight? Probably. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you, because exactly what he says every fucking time we play like that. Si, I'd like to get Hansi Flick in as head coach. Not a bad show. Very, very prestigious manager. Great pedigree. I know he had a mayor with the German national team, but what he did for Bayern was amazing. Yeah, absolutely. But this is the thing. These big managers are available. They're out there. And if this club really has the ambition that the PIF say they do, and Amanda says they do, it doesn't matter who you are. I mean, Claudio Ranieri is a perfect example, right? Claudio Ranieri, dilly dong. He won Leicester City, the Premier League. It was the most amazing thing any of us have ever seen as football fans. He's a legend in Leicester City. They sacked the bloke. They got rid of him because they didn't think he was capable of taking the team further or keep them in the league or doing or achieving whatever objectives they wanted to achieve at that particular time. And that guy won the fucking league. Everyone's talking about Eddie Howe. He kept us up. Yes, of course. Amazing. Got us in Champions League. Yes. Wow. Amazing, right? This season, he's not done that. He's way below par. So what makes Eddie Howe different to Claudio Ranieri? That's the question you go ask yourself. You really do. And I'm willing to give Eddie Howe loads of chances, and I have done this season, and I'm still going to give him a chance. But when you play shit for months and months and months on end, and you keep playing the same players out of form, and you keep not having any plan B or any idea how to fix things when they go wrong, you keep leaving it way too late for any substitutions or freshen your lineup up from the start just to try and get something, questions have got to be asked. And if people don't think questions have got to be asked, then you need to give your head a shake because you're living in a fucking Disney movie, and this is not a Disney movie. This is the real world. Take the other fucking pill. I don't know, is it the blue one or the red one? Mark knows better than me. He'll probably tell you in the comments. But take whichever pill gets you to the real fucking world and out of your little matrix here. Jim is saying Howe's had too many chances to play others, but stuck with crap for weeks. Play the Bens at least. Klopp's playing the kids. He's going for the league and he's playing the kids. And you can say those kids are brilliant. But Louis Miley's a great player. Anderson's a very good player. Lewis Hall's a good player. We've got good young kids on the bench that can play, and he's not playing them. So the difference between Klopp playing Bobby Clark and Connor Bradley and all these other players, what's the difference between playing them and Eddie Howe using these kids on the bench and instead of these old tired fucking legs who cannot move or kids who've got 4 injections just so they can run 3 yards? It's lazy management, and it's his loyalty to those players I think may cost him a job. George is saying no, and I could explain further, but basically give him till Christmas next year. So that's on the Eddie Howe scenario there. Kenk is saying Eddie Howe was not brave at all. Yeah, I totally agree with that, mate. He's not. Alan is saying that was truly awful. Sad thing is it was so predictable, Chris. I thought 4-0 before the start. I said 3-0 in the preview, so 2-0 is not too bad. Yeah, you're right. But like us, so deflated. We're so far behind Man City. We are light years away from Manchester City. Light years. We ain't getting there unless we've got a fucking, a drive from the Millennium Falcon to get us there. And that's even in 5 years' time, the way things are going. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Comment there from Anthony Stafford. I think it must be the sword of Damocles. 2 minutes turned off, went shopping. Howe's time has come and gone. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, Marcus putting a poll in the community chat for Eddie Howe out, and Decker is firmly in the out camp. Dazola says no. Ross says yes, obviously for Eddie Howe to get out. Antagonizer saying Eddie's stubborn attitude makes me think does he want the job? To be honest, sacking himself, it's madness. You got to ask that question. I mean, I don't know. We've got going there from Davey Swayze, great name. Edward out. I mean, I must admit, I said he was stiff and glue playing Dan Burn at left fullback. And once again, it shows again tonight. Dan Burn, shocking. There'll be people on X saying, oh, Dan Burn's a scapegoat this week, or Sean's a scapegoat that week, and all that. They're not scapegoats. If they've played badly, you've got a right as a fan to say they're not played very well. I don't think anybody really played well tonight, probably with the exception of Bruno and the subs that came on. I thought, Lewis Hall looked tidy when he come on. I thought Miley looked decent enough on the ball. Anderson was grafting, but everyone was crap, really. One of the better words. It was like the Chelsea game all over again, just crap. Davey's saying yes. Ian is saying yes as well for Eddie Howe out. Yeah, Teresa's S is saying out. Pilkey's Bod is saying if we keep Howe, we need to be careful who he tries to bring in. That's what worries me. So as I go back to that pull in the transfer market, if you're going to give a manager 250, 300 million quid, let's just say, with a salary last money, maybe the rules get a little bit slackened up a little bit. Who are we going to sign? Philip Billing, Lloyd Kelly, Solanke. Are they really going to be enough to get us to that next level, to get us into the Champions League, to win us a cup? Are they really going to do that? Who could a bigger name manager with more pedigree sign? Could they go and get a Victor, Osimhen? Could they get somebody like that? Could they get a Carver from Napoli? Could they get somebody like that because of the name, the pull of the manager and the project as well? It's just not. Yeah, it worries me. It really does worry me about what Eddie can bring on. Sorry for my horse impression, but it does worry me. Keith Truscott says, "Get gone." Absolutely. As a hyperbole. I'm trying tonight. Tell me if I'm wrong. Not yet. It's not. I don't know. It's just not good at all. King says, after Lewis Hall comes in, my panic stops for the left-hand side. This is the bit for me. King, I just do not understand. I do not understand how he cannot see that lad in training doing what he's doing and think, you know what, I'll give him a go at left back in the cup. Why on earth does he keep playing Burn? I honestly don't get it. Even Burn must know this kid's better than him in training. Defensively he might not be, but every other part of being a modern day fullback. If you're going to play 5 at the back with wing backs, then fuck me, play Lewis Hall. Play him, because he's got the legs to get back and forward, and Burn ain't got it. Ain't got it at all. I agree with Sean Action on this one. Let's wait till the end of the season. Anything less than 57 points, it's out. Me and Mark will cover this on Monday to see where we think we're going to finish. We'll be really honest and raw about it, because we always are in Evermore. We don't sugarcoat it. We don't make everything sound awesome just for the sake of it, just so people love us and tell us how wonderful we are in the comments. I saw a comment recently on another great Newcastle podcast that I listened to, so I'm not going to slag them off. And somebody was saying, "Oh, I love it, you guys. You never slag anybody off. You never get hysterical." And I actually commented on it and said, "I'm sorry, mate, but that's disrespectful to the other channels. You're full of shit, because you got to have an opinion one way or the other, good or bad. You got to have night and day. You got to have different shades. Not everybody's going to think it's brilliant. Not everyone's going to think it's bad. Some people will be in the middle. But you've got to pick your side." A few more comments here, just looking through the here we go. Right, let's finish a couple more, then we'll shoot off. Andrew saying he's not anti-Eddie Howe, but he's got to prove to the Middle East he's worth keeping. After being nice, make friends. Revy and Clough won silverware, not friends. Yeah, absolutely. Trevor saying, I thought we said we would be patient. I never said that, Trevor. I'll be patient for as long as a manager is winning, and the manager's doing well with the team. If a manager goes on a winless run like Eddie Howe has, and he keeps playing players who are off form, I'll question his ability to do the job. Eddie Howe did nothing but succeed in this job in his first 18 months, and now he's struggling. He's having a bad season. And as a football fan, you're right to criticise him. And I don't care at what point you have criticised him, whether you criticised him in week 3 of the season or only just now. You're entitled to your opinion. Likewise, if you back him. But you can't be blindsided here. This isn't the Manson family. You have to say whether the guy's not performing, and at the minute he's not performing. So you're right to point that out. That was a terrible lineup tonight. It was a negative team selection. No strategy other than just to sit there and pray Man City didn't murder you quicker than they did. And that's what he got out of it. So he got out of what he wanted to put into the game. But yeah, it wasn't good enough. I mean, even the commentators in the panel were saying at half time, have a go. You're 2-0 down, have a go. And he waited till 61 minutes to bring on 4 players who had a go. Had he brought them on at half time, maybe we could have got something out of the game. Who knows? Richard's saying he has polished the turds. He deserves new players. I don't disagree with that. So if there's been an issue with Ashworth and him and everything else, that's why he's not got the new players. I think I said this in January. If you don't buy new players in January, you are going to struggle. And that's exactly what's happening. We've had too many injuries, too many players off form, and not enough options to bring off the bench. One fit striker, because we didn't sign a striker in January, which we needed to sign. We needed to sign number 6, and we didn't sign them either. So the owners have got to take that, Richard. I totally agree with that. I do not think they backed the manager at all. But maybe they didn't back him because the players he was going to bring in weren't good enough. Maybe it was that. We've got to ask a couple of different questions here. David saying, get him in the summer, get new players. If he doesn't turn around and start next season, then look at replacing. That's fair play, Dave. But the problem is then you're going to have a new manager with Eddie Howe's players. So there's an issue there. I see your point, though. I'm not saying sack him now. I think back him in the summer, but he has to go and get good players. He has to buy better than what he has. He can't go and buy mediocre players and rely on players whose fitness is letting him down and breaking down. And if they're not fit enough to play or train the way he wants to play and train, he's got to get stronger players to do it. He really, really has. Antagonize is saying, smash the like, lads, over 200 watch, only 32 likes. Yes, guys, if you can smash that like, really appreciate that as well. We'll do a couple of more comments just before we shoot off. I'm trying to catch up with as many as I can here. Joe Linton is saying, J7, there's only 9 games left of the season. Ooh, bloody Nora. Isaac 101, I'd have his P45 at the airport. Well, I do think he's got to be careful. I mean, Tanguy's saying he thinks Eddie wants the England job. I mean, that'll be a great job for Eddie Howe, I think, the England job. Because the England manager is constantly getting abuse and letting people down, isn't he? But listen, no, Eddie's done a great job here thus far. But at the minute, it's really tailed off. But it's been like this for months now. Something has to give. This warm weather camp kind of comes soon enough. Go do the warm weather camp. Try and come back. Then try and make a difference. And hit West Ham and get a result, and then try and get positive results till the end of the season and finish as high as we can. But there's a lot of deadwood needs to go in the summer. There really, really is. I hope Eddie Howe isn't part of that deadwood. If he doesn't sort himself out, then he's got to do it. He's got to sort himself out or he'll be gone. Peter Moran saying, no manager will come in. There's no money to spend. Do you think Eddie Howe doesn't want to buy better players? I don't know. Do you think Philip Billings a better player than anyone we've got in midfield makers? I don't. Dean Chant said, owners won't wait too long until they change things in order for success. It all depends on how much money they're willing to give them or they're allowed to give them, I suppose. But yeah, it is definitely a challenge. MRAL and UFC, I give Howe a chance to prove his elite status, but he's not past time to go. Yeah, yes, I can't disagree with that. I think the Eddie Howe out camps, and I hate that word, the vibe towards Eddie Howe, shall I say, that is growing. That is definitely growing. And I think performances like tonight, where you just don't bother trying and don't really bother going for it, and you just lay down and take it, it really winds people up. It really, really does. And I think a lot of fans will start to turn on. And I think if we get beat against West Ham and a few of the games to come, as well as Palace in there, I think as well, we'll check up on Monday to be certain. But I think if he keeps putting in bad performances like that, he is definitely going to be under serious, serious pressure. I agree with you, Tim. No physicality in our team. No shit house. We said that earlier, mate. Yeah, we definitely need those players. But we should have replaced them. We should have got players in who could have done the job that Joe Linton and Pope did, and we didn't do it. We rolled the dice in January. We relied on the fitness of these players, and it's come back to bite us on the arse. It's Paul saying there, why they were saying Harvey Barnes, decent player, but we just didn't need him. Yeah, Gogo 20 million would have done it. Again, you got to question some of those signs as well. I mean, I wanted Maddison, to be honest with you. And people can say what they want about Maddison, but the guy's quality. He's capable of brilliant moments to win you games. I know he's had some injuries as well, but yeah, for me, I think he was a better option than Barnes. Barnes had a stinker of a season. big pressure on Barnes for next season, though. He's in real trouble as well. Peter's saying, evening, Chris. I've had it with Eddie Howe now. It's time to go. P45. Howe out. I think this is a growing trend. It really, really is. A lot of fans will not agree with it, but I think there'll be a lot more people asking that question now. Yeah, Keith saying that Eddie lost him when he waved his flag at Chelsea. William is saying he had his chance. Goodbye. Yeah, don't doubt that, William. I think there's going to be a lot of that going on. A couple of more comments, guys. There we'll go. What we hear. Bri is saying, love hearing people call for Howe as if we've got an endless choice of replacements. Won't gain a thing by getting rid of him. Really, to the players are just aren't good enough. Give him a chance. There's an argument for that, Bri. There really is, mate. Thanks for that comment. There's an argument for that. But you can understand why people want the manager out. We're no different than any other football team. The buck stops with the manager in many ways. He has to motivate the players, has to pick the players. But I think when he's picking players that are woefully off form, he's putting his trust in players who keep letting him down. And he doesn't seem to have the balls to drop those players. That's why people turn on him, Brian. It really, really is. But I don't disagree. He's got a lot of mediocre players there, but he had the chance probably to tell the board to get rid of a few of these players, and he didn't do it, and he's got to carry that can as well. He really, really has. Well, we've got a Celtic fan, I think, Mark Bissell, my dad's favourite team, so I've got to put that. Bruno looks sick as a chip. Bruno will be gone. Was it sure heard that excuse in January? Must be about players. Bruno will be gone soon, and I think Isak will be gone soon if we keep doing that. Yeah, Doom the Knox, Mourinho. Just a quick one on Mourinho, and then I'll shoot off. Now, people can say no to Mourinho, right? And Mourinho did seem to lose a bit of it in the Premier League, with Spurs and I say Manchester United, he got them for the second, didn't he? Won them a cup, so he didn't do that bad. But Jose Mourinho in a game like that probably wins you that game because he's a shithouse himself, and his team will be set out in such a way to wind up someone like Pep Guardiola and win a game that you shouldn't even win. Mourinho, I wouldn't say no, Mourinho. I really wouldn't. I know some people think I'm crackers there, but tried and tested, one of the best managers in modern day history. His win ratio is ridiculous in most clubs that he's been in. He's won trophies in every club that he's been in. He commands respect. He's got pull in the transfer market as well, as Ross says there. Mourinho done okay with Roma. He's a winner, absolutely. And again, the Narcos say he'd love it. I wouldn't say no to Mourinho. I'm not saying I want Eddie out, but if Eddie was to be flipped tomorrow, Jose was to be linked to the job with everything I've just said, as well as his ties to Bobby Robson, and he gets the club and he understands the club and he has a lot of time for Newcastle, I don't think it would be a bad decision. I really, really wouldn't. And listen, if Jose came in 2 years and got us to top 4 regulars and won a cup, you got to say that's a success, isn't it? You have to say that. But, there'll be loads of discussions about this, I'm sure. If the pressure mounts on Eddie, and he does look like he might be gone. And if he keeps putting performances of that, the pressure will be mounted. Yeah, Mourinho for Keith too. But I'm sure me and Mark will pick up on this as well on Monday, guys. So thank you so much for watching tonight. Thank you for jumping in the comments and all of your great comments. It always helps these things flow. Whatever your opinion is, we welcome it here. We don't shout and ball anybody. We don't ban anybody from the chat unless it's totally abusive. And nobody's been that guy tonight as always. So thank you very much for that, guys. As I mentioned at the start, if you haven't already, subscribe. We'd love you to come and join us. Smash the like as well. Help the channel grow. We're really close to that 7,000 mark. We've got a couple of great prizes lined up for the 7,000 mark and some member giveaways too. So if you want to be a member, click that option too, and you can have a great prize as well. Maybe even things about great managers we've had in the past as well. So keep your eyes out for that when those prizes are drawn. But try and have a good evening, guys, wherever you are. A crap performance. We almost knew it was coming, but we wanted a bit better than that, and we didn't get it, sadly. But tune in on Monday night with me and Mark. I'll be back for the What's Going On with Mark at 10 o'clock, and we'll pick through some more of the shit that we've seen today at the Etihad. Have a good evening, guys. We'll see you later.